community and also ASEAN social cultural community blueprints. So by 2015, the ASEAN community has been completed, consisting of 3 pillars. These are the 3 pillars. The AC, or economic pillar, called for the single market and production-based competitive economic region of ASEAN, equitable economic development, and integration into global economy. For the political security blueprint, they want to create peace, make ASEAN an important political region that has a lot of good relation with the world, especially global powers. And also the social cultural blueprint, it encompasses like human development, social welfare, justice, environmental sustainability, and also set up the ASEAN identity. All in all, these are part of the ASEAN Charter. ASEAN Charter calls for one vision, one identity, one caring and sharing community. So when people ask about the motto of ASEAN Charter, you have to answer this. ASEAN, one vision, one identity, one caring and sharing community. For the economic pillar of ASEAN or economic blueprints, these are the main components. Single market, competitive economy compared to other regions of the world, equitable economic development. It means ASEAN will try to help poorer countries, poorer neighboring countries to develop, to narrow development gap between the richer economy and the poorer economy. And also it must be an open region integrated into the global economy. It means that ASEAN would not create a trading bloc among themselves, but it will open to the world. For the social cultural blueprints, they also cover poverty reduction, health issue, disaster management, education, food security. So when you talk about education, that's why we have a lot of ASEAN University Network, you see, and also exchanges. And we have to do many things like quality control, benchmark, a lot of regulations, even in Ministry of Education, Thai University have to adopt because of ASEAN. Also food security, also your timetable. That's why we have to open the class in August because of ASEAN. ASEAN calendar. It affects every one of us. Food security, social impact of integration, environmental sustainability, migrant labor. ASEAN also have this kind of commission dealing with migrant laborers. Women and children rights. We have a special commission, working group, science technology. For the political security blueprints, they still enshrine the non-difference, consensus, national regional resilience, respect for sovereignty, principles, elements of the blueprint, political development, shaping and sharing of norms on counter-terrorism and nuclear-free zones. It means that no ASEAN countries could have nuclear arms. It would not be possible because of this kind of agreement, nuclear-free zones. Interstate conflict prevention and post-conflict peace building and combating terrorism. So when it comes to the issue of terrorism, ASEAN has to work out cooperative measures to combat terrorism, part of the ASEAN blueprint. But still, as I mentioned before about the ASEAN critics, many people, especially academics, are saying that ASEAN has little room for political participation and representation of civil society. ASEAN doesn't have this few mechanism or internal conflict and interstate conflicts. Although ASEAN has the ASEAN President and ASEAN Secretariat, but when we have arguments between like Thailand and Malaysia or Thailand and Cambodia, we don't have the concrete mechanism to deal with the issue. Still, different ASEAN states have to solve the problems among themselves. Also, ASEAN has not recognized the IDP, internally displaced people. ASEAN mentioned about migrant workers. ASEAN agreed to work on migrant workers, but ASEAN doesn't mention refugees or IDPs. That's why when we have Rohingya people living in Myanmar as refugees, ASEAN did not have the meeting on that issue because it's not part of ASEAN agreement. So IDPs and refugees are not recognized as common issue for ASEAN for discussion. Also, ASEAN needs to recognize diversity of ethnicity and religion, and also marginalized people. It seems that this is kind of sensitive issue for ASEAN because of the problems in Myanmar. I think that's why it could not agree on the multi-cultural policy of ASEAN. Because in Myanmar, they don't recognize the existence of Rohingya people as Myanmar citizens. Myanmar regard them as non-Myanmar people. They don't issue ID cards to some ethnic groups in Myanmar. ASEAN needs to strengthen existing regional instruments on migrants, women, children, and civic groups, and also increase public participation processes. Actually, we have a mechanism called ASEAN Parliamentary Assembly, APA, APA, which is a kind of meeting of ASEAN academics and civic groups. The meeting is usually organized next to the ASEAN leaders meeting. Normally, like when we had the leaders meeting like in Vientiane, APA would also organize its own meeting alongside the ASEAN meeting, and they will come up with some kind of suggestions to the ASEAN government, and they would submit it to the ASEAN foreign minister to recommend this kind of comments to the ASEAN leaders. Mostly about democracy, about human rights, about social justice, for example. I used to participate in APA as well. When I work in the Foreign Affairs, I joined ASEAN meeting as part of the government in AFTA Council, AFTA Working Group, ASEAN Free Trade Area Governing Group. Also, I used to participate in the AEM SOM, Senior Official Meeting for ASEAN ministers, and also on other working groups. But when I left the foreign service and I joined the private sector, I went to meet in ASEAN meeting in another venue in the APA, which consists of young people, young ASEAN leaders, parliamentarians, academics, NGOs, and they have a different nature of discussion. But it was good fun. In APA, a lot of young people, and you can speak your mind. But when you work for the government, you have to say what you are, what you should say. What is your government policy? Also, ASEAN needs to promote regional civilian peacekeeping forces. Sometimes when we had internal problems and displaced people, we need to have peacekeeping forces, but ASEAN doesn't have this mechanism yet. In Europe, when they had problems in former Yugoslavia, for example, then the UN, the European country, they have this kind of mechanism in place. They could send peacekeeping forces with the UN to Albania, for example. I remember at the time I worked in Brussels, I went to a meeting. It's a global meeting to help Albania. It was organized in Brussels, and many countries gave donation to the UN to help Albania, and some countries also send peacekeeping forces there. But in ASEAN countries, we don't have this kind of mechanism. When we had problem in Cambodia, it was the UN who sent the peacekeeping forces to Cambodia. And when we had that problem in East Timor, after the withdrawal of Indonesian troops, and they had the election in East Timor, Timor-Leste, then the UN body sent peacekeeping forces there. For the ASEAN structure, we have various mechanisms. ASEAN Summit is the ASEAN government, ASEAN leaders, and we have the three pillars. This is the ASEAN foreign ministers, and this is the ASEAN trade ministers, AM, and this is the ASEAN cultural minister, like Ministry of Welfare, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Development, Ministry of Education. So various ministries have to participate in ASEAN meeting, different meetings. This is the ASEAN Regional Forum. It's not an agreement, but it's a forum where ASEAN government and global powers come to meet to discuss strategic issues in the Asian Pacific region. Russia, America, China, European countries, everyone come to this forum, ASEAN Regional Forum. Also, ASEAN has different ministerial meeting, law ministerial meeting, transnational crime. This is of the council, finance minister, investment minister is like industrial minister, finance, food, agricultural. We have this called AMAF, food agriculture. This is the ASEAN Secretariat Office. We have the ASEAN Secretary General, which is equal to a minister. It's like a foreign minister. At the moment, I think Vietnamese representative is the ASEAN Secretary General from Vietnam. Before that, it was Dr. Surin Pisuwan, former Thai Foreign Minister. And we have various departments like the AEC department, and economic department, and they have many units. We have also the political department. We have this socio-cultural department, and this is the supporting unit. So a lot of people, I don't know how many, but must be in 1,000. I think normally they would have a lot of meetings in the ASEAN Secretary General building in Jakarta, in Block M. I went there many times when I was in ASEAN Affairs Department to have meeting. But I just learned that now they're going to build a new building because they're going to expand the ASEAN Secretariat Office. And everyone, ASEAN people, ASEAN national, can work here. You can apply to work here. It's very competitive, but it's good money. It's like working in the UN. You can earn money without paying taxes, no taxes for the income. Also, you can buy car with no taxes. It's like you are a diplomat if you work in the ASEAN Secretariat Office. Many Thai academics, they move to ASEAN office. Okay, after you learn about ASEAN and its evolution, I would like to talk about the ASEAN economy. If we compare ASEAN to the world, if ASEAN is like one country, 10 countries, but together as one market, ASEAN will have more than 600 million people. It would rank number 3 in the world in terms of global population. China, India, and ASEAN. You see? So ASEAN is not small. ASEAN is huge. Ranked number 3 in the world. Even ahead of the EU, ahead of US. And importantly, more than half of ASEAN population is under 30 years old. What does it mean? What does it mean? Yes, this is working age population. So ASEAN has a lot of labor supply in the future. ASEAN is not old. ASEAN is not aging like Europe or America. So ASEAN has good future in terms of the labor supply. If we look at ASEAN GDP, you can see that it has grown very fast. Double the GDP size in less than 10 years, from 1.33 trillion US dollars to 2.57 trillion US dollars in just 7 years. Also, the per capita GDP of ASEAN has increased, has doubled, almost doubled in the same period, from 2.3 to 4.1 thousand US dollars. So ASEAN is a region with a high growth economy. In terms of economic size, ASEAN is not small either. It ranked number 7 in the world in the year 2014, after America, China, Japan, Germany, UK, and France. So ASEAN economy is one of the top 10 economy in the world, and the third largest in Asia after China and Japan. But when you look inside ASEAN, ASEAN has a lot of differences. It has high income disparity. Singapore has a per capita income of 80 times the poorest ASEAN country, like in Myanmar. So Singapore is even richer than the American people. Singapore per capita GDP is one of the highest in the world, and Myanmar is one of the poorest in the world. So we have, two extremes.